My name is Lena Brooks, I'm 29 years old, and I live alone in a small apartment in Columbus, Ohio, working remotely as a financial analyst while studying for my certification exams, trying to build something stable and meaningful for myself, even if my family never really saw it that way. Last Mother's Day, we were all gathered at my parents' house, about a dozen relatives, the usual noise, laughter, plates clinking. When my older sister Carla stood up with a glowing smile and announced she was pregnant again, and instantly the room erupted, my mom teared up, my dad looked proud, everyone celebrating like it was the greatest news in the world, and then, without even pausing, my dad turned to me and said, "Lena's moving in to help," as if it had already been decided, as if my life was just a loose piece they could rearrange whenever it suited them, and Carla laughed, adding, "You don't have much going on." Anyway, and what shocked me most wasn't just what they said, but how no one questioned it, no one hesitated, everyone just nodded like it made perfect sense, like I was an extra piece in their plan. I didn't argue, I didn't cause a scene, I simply stood up and walked out, and the next morning I woke up to a call from a police officer saying someone had requested a welfare check on me because they were concerned I might be unstable, and in that moment I realized my own family had crossed a line so casually it scared me. Not because they were worried, but because I didn't obey them, and that was the moment. Everything shifted inside me, something quiet but firm, like a switch flipping into place. I sat down that day and made a list of everything I refused to lose: my job, my exams, my apartment, my independence, and most importantly, my self-respect. And a week later when they gathered again, expecting me to fall back into place, my mother smiled at everyone and proudly announced that I had agreed to move in and help Carla, and I could feel all eyes on me, waiting for me to confirm their version of reality. But instead I stood up calmly and said, "I never agreed," and the room went silent in a way that felt heavier than shouting, and I told them the truth. That I had been assigned a role without being asked, that someone had called the police on me with a false report, and that I was not giving up my life to fix theirs. And at first there was resistance, guilt, frustration, the usual pressure wrapped in concern. But then something unexpected happened, small cracks started forming. An aunt admitted something similar had happened to her years ago. My brother-in-law quietly said they should have asked, and even my father, in his own stubborn way, admitted it wasn't right, not a full apology, but enough to shift the ground we were standing on. I didn't cut my family off after that. I didn't disappear, I just changed the rules. I started showing up on my own terms, helping only when I chose to, setting boundaries without explaining myself over and over, and slowly, not perfectly but noticeably, things began to adjust around me, and 3 months later I passed my certification exam, still living in my apartment, still building my life the way I wanted, and what I learned through all of it is this: saying no doesn't destroy families, it reveals them. It forces people to see you as a person instead of a role, and sometimes the only way to finally be respected is to stop being available for everything, because the moment I stopped being the backup plan was the moment I finally